Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. In 1975, director Brian Forbes crafted a thriller where supermarkets had never been so scary, where we find modern-minded 1975 women are replaced by soulless androids. It coined the phrase Stepford wife, which passed into our language to describe a wife who is perfectly made up, looks perfect all the time, and presents a very perfect facade. It's based on a 1972 novel by Ira Levine, and it follows Joanna Ebhart, who's a New York City photographer, whose husband, Walter, persuades her to move to Connecticut. They and their 2 children settle into this wonderful town of Stepford, with its abundance of unnatural number of women that seem bland and are constantly smiling, dressed in long skirts. Joanna and her best friend Bobby grow suspicious as they watch new friends like Charmaine change personalities overnight, transforming themselves into obedient male fantasies. Early on, the production set out to find the actress to play Joanna, and it wasn't easy. Gene Seberg was in the running, but ultimately said no to the project. Diane Keaton met with the director, but he later said that she turned it down because her analyst didn't like it. In the end, the role of this doomed wife went to Katharine Ross, then best known for the movie The Graduate. The movie was shot on location in Connecticut, with towns like Darien and Fairfield standing in for the utopian Stepford. You often find a lot of horror movies that are set in dark and gloomy circumstances, but that wasn't the case for this film. It was in bright, beautiful sunlight with beautiful surroundings and beautiful people. It had the ability to lull you on until you finally became terrified. The idea of a Stepford wife and the style associated with it was created by the director, and he called it a cross between Marilyn Monroe and June Cleaver. When the script was originally written, they intended for the bunch of wives to be basically Playboy bunnies, but instead the director dressed Bobby and Joanna in modern crop tops and short shorts, while the Stepford wives all wore pastels, long skirts that had a lot of ruffles. It seems that there are only 2 wives in Stepford that are truly normal, Joanna and the wisecracking Bobby. They strike up a fast friendship by observing their neighbors' bizarre behavior. The pair then starts to investigate. It doesn't take long before Bobby herself falls victim. She transforms overnight into this cheerful housewife who paints on makeup, who curls her hair, and meticulously scrubs her kitchen. Horrified by her friend's change, Joanna plans to leave her husband and the town. But before she can do this, she realizes her children are missing. In a desperation to find them, she goes back to Bobby's, where she learns the terrifying truth that the members of the local men's association have been killing their wives and replacing them with high-tech, subservient robots. Desperate and alone, Joanna realizes that she must be next. So she goes to the men's association to try to find her missing children and escape the town. She gets lost in the maze-like building and comes face to face with her android doppelganger, virtually identical to the real Joanna, except for her fuller breast and vacant black eyes. In the end, Joanna's smiling double advances and then strangles the real Joanna with a stocking. You never actually see this murder take place, as it happens off screen, but there is no doubt about what happened. When we next see Ross, she's in the Stepford supermarket with all the other wives, walking about the store in a completely automatic mode. Early on in pre-production, it was suggested that Mary Tyler Moore and Valerie Harper play Joanne and Bobby, respectively. This was immediately vetoed and deemed it as a very gimmicky publicity stunt, as both actresses were very popular at that time, starring in top-rated sitcoms. The idea was completely dismissed before casting ever began. Director Brian Forbes claims that he found that the screenwriter, William Goldman, was very high-handed and rude, and reluctant to change anything in his script. Goldman, in turn, was infuriated that the director rewrote his script extensively, mostly during the active shooting. After the movie was released, there was an abundance of feminist demonstrations against it, decrying that it was sexist. Protesters were everywhere, and one stepped forward and hit the director Brian Forbes over the head with her umbrella. Katharine Ross later commented on the incident, stating that it was a powerful testimony to how the movie affected people. Now, the two lead actresses in the movie, that being Paula Prentiss and Katharine Ross, have had some really strange things happen in their career. Paula Prentiss became well known for her early 1960s films, like The World of Henry Orient from '64 and In Harm's Way from '65. She then had a strong supporting role in What's New, Pussycat from 1965 with Peter Sellers. But during the filming of this movie, she had a complete meltdown. One day while they were shooting, she just decided to climb up the ropes to the catwalk and start walking the beams, all the time yelling loudly and clearly to everyone on the set that she was going to jump. A French technician grabbed her, and there she was hanging by just one arm. This event derailed her career and almost made her uninsurable for future movies. She ended up being hospitalized for 9 months. And then there's Katharine Ross, who had to obtain a restraining order against her own daughter, Chloe. Chloe lost her temper and told her mother that she wanted to kill her. Ross picked up a phone to call the police, but her daughter cut the phone lines with some scissors and threatened to poke her eyes out. She then stabbed her 6 times in the right arm, using enough force to pierce the skin and leave her with scars that are visible today. Supposedly, the two have made up and have been seen at various Hollywood events. Go back and take a look at this pretty disturbing film. It's a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.